Where do I even start, guys? Okay, I guess I'll start from the beginning. So, unless you've been locked up in a bunker and you don't know, well, some of you may be not knowing that Neo is already coming up on 1.8. It's still 1.7 as of today. I haven't made the official release yet, and I haven't pushed it yet as far as marketing. So yeah, it might have explained if you see it for the first time. So I'm not gonna go explain what Neo is, because the video will be played for hours, and I certainly need to compile a script in order to do that. In order to do that, right? So instead, I'll just tell what's some of the features that will be in 1.8 version of Neo. In short, Neo is fluid scattering, lighting, atmosphere, skies, everything has to do with surrounding. Fluid meaning it works by more than 50 actual physical laws, and it's a script that is based on explain actual normal shaders and actual graphics, but nothing from vanilla explain is here left. I guarantee you that. Nothing except of course the engine itself and the way it's built, but the rest behind the scenes, I'll show it later, Neo is working. Okay, so one of the, as you can tell, one of the biggest features that is gonna be in 1.8, how it's different from 1.7, is night lighting. Okay, so first of all, a little pre-word. I'm gonna share my screen and show it to you. So I see it often, really often, especially with people who don't fly in real world, either by passenger as a passenger or by pilot as a pilot. They look at these pictures. They look at pictures like they look at pictures like that, and they think that reality looks like that at night. It doesn't nearly. Well, some of you who actually know how cameras work, it doesn't matter if it's a good camera, it actually does a little bit better. But if it's a phone, iPhone, or anything like that, it'll brighten up the night lighting like 20 times, as you can see here. So this is all insane. Like you don't see none of that, not even close to that. All right, even here, even this is considered super bright. This is too bright. So this is here is probably like 20 times brighter than it actually is. And the explanation of that, or here, look at that. Jesus, they're gonna come. These cameras that one day it's gonna be like just broad daylight at night, and it's basically already is. Look at that. So, yeah, it doesn't have anything. The reality doesn't have anything to do with that. So, don't be misguided by looking at those screenshots or videos that people make and think that the reality looks like that. You'll be surprised and maybe even disappointed a little bit. In general, except maybe like huge city centers, just the complete centers, as I mean downtown areas and city. The rest of it looks pretty dark, and even the city itself, it looks dark, especially from the aircraft. The lower you get, the brighter it gets, like the light itself, but then the light gets hidden by the glare shield, which is on top, right? So you only can see actual light until some point, and then just by angle of how it is, you don't see it anymore. You just see what light, the light spill itself. But just to give you an idea, there are videos you can find online which is still have the camera exposure effect, but it's a little bit better than the rest. So something like that would be really realistic. So as you can see, this is Boston, and we are in Boston. So this guy got a cell phone, so it's gonna be even less bright than that, of course, but yeah, you get the idea. So as you can see right away, the center of the city is bright, like the downtown area, and even like the outskirts of the downtown area. But the outskirts of the city, look, it's dark, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that there's nothing in it. There are lights there, but you can't see those. They're so small, and they get hidden behind the trees, and they're just so dim that you don't see them like that. So, and that's what we're gonna do. And some of those areas, they actually don't have any roads or houses or lighting. So that's what we made actually in Neo. So no more grid, none of that. So if you look at, like, let's say explain night light, and then you look at any of those, what you notice right away is that they're all similarity. Well, so I'm not gonna like shame anybody's work because it's all people done, but you get the idea, okay? So none of that we have here. So I can see some of the pictures are from reality, but most of the things you see is this, okay? And again, this is not to shame anybody's work, but I just want you to understand one thing, okay? So you see all these huge blobs, they're all like the same color, and there's a network of them, net, and there doesn't matter if the road is not supposed to have a light, or you get the idea. So this is what I was always getting tired of. I was looking at this, I was getting by the way, this one on the left looks more realistic, but anyways, so I was looking at it and I was like, wow, I mean, we have so much power in explain engine, and the lighting is the best lighting, hands down, because Microsoft is not that bright. Microsoft lights are they're like drawn, right? You know, they're like pastel drawn, and this is, and explain lights actually, you know, it's an actual light. You can see it's light when proper tuned. Okay, so I was getting tired of this kind of view, and I decided to change things, and that's how Neo started. It actually started from Atmo, but we've come a long way. Okay, so first of all, we are in the airport, so let's start from the airport. Like I said, none of the lights here are original, so everything here is custom. And if you're a pilot, if you've flown, you know that when on the approach lights is the most brightest thing you can imagine, like the approach and threshold, but the runway edge lights are not, and they're pretty dim, as you can see here. So one more thing, when you come close to the light at some distance, you have that eye diffraction, I think it's called. It's an ophthalmology, so it's basically like the human nature of the eye. So when you are close to light, you can see it's bright. It's perfectly bright. You can see it's shiny, right? But when you step away a little bit, like the farther you step away, the more you'll start seeing like the starburst effect, a little starburst effect like this. And this has to do with how your eye, how human eye works, basically. Okay, let me do this. So, but the farther you get, they're just become kind of invisible and less visible, at least, but you just see the light source. So the runway lighting changed, all the coloring, all the proper sizes. Now notice the aircraft. You don't see any crazy landing lights or anything like that. You'll probably be able to look at the moon. You'll probably be able to see its landing lights here. Once you get close to it, the nav lights, they're not really bright. Like unless when you're close to the aircraft, you see them. Like, you know, but the farther you get, you don't see them. Basically in airborne, you barely see them. Depends, of course, how high it is. But look, yeah, so look at the landing lights. So this is one of the things. If we see another plane, I'll let you know how in distance it looks. And it's amazing. The taxi ways, of course, taxi blue lights. Looking good, and proper coloring, proper spill. The wigwag, this is not wigwag, this is just a entry light, but the wigwag, if I'll find it, I'll show it to you. So it's proper speed of that, proper color. So just basically all the lights in airport, as you can imagine, all proper. And this is the example of how bright the runway lighting should be, except the runway edge lights. They're most of the times dimmer, but again, in reality, the airport can manage the brightness of the runway. All right, let me just make sure that I'm recording, and yeah. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so yeah, now we are stepping closer to the terminal. Now you can see in terminal out here, this is a sodium, high pressure sodium light, which is yellow. Every time you see like a yellow orange type of light, this is sodium light, sodium based light. And before, back in the days, like back in the 70s, 80s, majority of the lights were actually green. They were like green hue, so it's because it was a mercury vapor, and some of those are still left out today from 80s, believe it or not. They're still left. I don't know, it's not the fact that the light is still available from 80s and it's still burning, and it's just the fact that they had it in storage and they just were changing. But so less and less of those, but you can still find them. So we have that as well. So you can see the low pressure sodium. Now airports, depending in every airport, depending on how it was built, as far as in X-plane, whatever they installed it, you'll see the different lights. So you'll see metal halide type of lights, kind of like a cold white and warm white, and you'll see sodium. I had reports that even one airport had mercury lights, but it came out to be that the airport was custom by somebody. So one more thing for actual users who already use Neo, don't expect the product to work flawlessly and like it's supposed to be if you're using my product with other products, such as oh, here's the landing lights, if you can see right there. Of course it's not gonna work, right? Because it's all based on, so if you're taking my product and then you putting something on top of it, well, you're gonna have something that you put on top. So it's I think it's essential for in common sense, right? Now, for auto ortho and sim heaven, I use auto ortho and sim heaven at daytime. At night, just about let's see, just about when night is about to hit, like about like that much. When I see the night lights start turning on, I turn off auto ortho and sim heaven in flight, and you can do it. You can save flight and restart PC, not PC, but flight. Save flight, in flight, and restart, and it'll pick it up from there. Most of the aircraft that on the market right now can do that. And even without turning off, restarting the sim. But if like, let's say you're flying daytime and it's turning dark, if for some reason you didn't turn it off or you didn't want to, let me tell you what's gonna happen. The lights will still work, but they will not work fully as they're supposed to, because let me tell you what sim heaven and auto ortho do. First of all, sim heaven takes objects that are lit here, originally lit by Laminar, and replaces with own objects, as well as it changes light definitions. And this is why you'll see lights slightly different when using sim heaven. This is why I use only vanilla at night, and you get the most to get the most out of the picture, use that. Now auto ortho, on the other hand, it what it does, it's of course it puts the ortho on top of the so that means no more distant city textures. And by that I mean a little spoiler for you. See these textures in horizon, distant cities. Those are actually textures. That's how the sim was made to work, right? Not these. This is still 3D lighting. That. So ortho will put its picture on top of it, and that's why you'll never have it. So you'll have like your lights would be cut off at this moment here. So so yeah, bottom line, just turn it off for the time being, and I'll show you how easy it could be done, guys. For example, you're daytime and you're flying with auto ortho. I have ready custom scenery 2 files for day and night, as you can see. And for daytime, as you can see, sim heaven is active. I have auto ortho is active. All stuff, all good stuff, right? If I want to turn it off at while I'm flying, I go to night, and I take this and just drop it into scenario and override without turning off the sim. And this has the sim heaven disabled and auto ortho disabled without moving anything from the folder. And then what I do is just I go here, develop, and reload the scenario, and that's it. And of course turn off the auto ortho first. That's it. And then it reloads, even in flight, takes like 1 minute, and boom, you're flying. Same thing if I want to turn on sim heaven, like say I've been flying at night, and then morning came. But usually, look, I'll show you this thing. It's kind of still spoiling the good picture, but we'll get the idea. I want to get it out of. So look, it's already light, but look how pretty this is. You can't tell if, you know, it's not the times that we had crappy earth and textures before. I mean, this looks gorgeous. I mean, even daytime it's normal. Like, so I wait usually until it gets to like to the point of lights turning off, and still it's pretty. It's not like nothing's gonna fall out if you use it. And then when it gets light like this, when the lights are totally gone, then I go and turn it on. So the idea is that today's explain, vanilla explain are so pretty, is so pretty by the objects and everything, so it's not even issue. But yeah, so this is just a pre-word for use. Okay, all right, now let's move towards the lights. So in reality, lights, so I'm gonna speak of reality, and when I speak about reality, that means it's implemented in the Neo. So I don't speak about it unless it's implemented in Neo. So in reality and in Neo, we have different light sizes, light brightness, and so as you can see, some of lights are really small and they produce real small spill. Some of them are large, some of them are like extra large, and this is how it is in reality. If you fly, or you fly as a passenger, as a pilot, you know, like you look at the city and you see some of the brighter stuff, some of the lights are brighter, some of them are dimmer. So we have that. Now as far as variety, I think we have over, I might be wrong, but I think it's more over 100 of different types of lights. It might be more, but when I was implementing the lights, I was using actual world, like actual physical data of the lights, about their spill size, about their brightness on candelas, about the color of the spill, the color of the light source itself. So all of that was used. So I even in the manual in Neo even had a little small manual when I listed the types and names of the lights. So it's like, for example, like General Electric type track 5 or whatever, you know. So when I was making them, I came to it the same way as I do everything. Is really, I'm really nitpicky about stuff, so I'm perfectionist, so I did it with perfectionism. Okay, so in normal neighborhood, as you can see, now normal neighborhood, even in the city limits, sometimes, especially when you move away, it could be really dark. I mean, it could be just like that. So when you are on the ground, as you can see, the heck is that? Okay, I think it was a car. So some car underground or something. All right, so when you look at the light, especially like that, this is a normal LED. I think this is LED type. The brightness is correct. When you look at it, that's how it is. And then when you are a little bit farther away, it becomes like the spill becomes larger. Not the spill, but the diffraction or whatever it's called. Sorry for the terms terminology. Sometimes I've been up 24 hours and I've been working 24 hours on this, so I'm a little bit off, a little bit tired. So as you can see, normally in the neighborhood nothing looks out of ordinary. So you got the light, you got the spill, and that's how it is in reality. Now let me show you an example. So you got this channel, really nice channel. It's called Skylight Production. He has pretty good camera, and it's almost as how the eyes see it. So look here. I wanted to turn the camera as I was thinking I was explaining. All right, so look here. You see that small neighborhood? You don't see nothing too much. Like, I'm talking about this square in between the highway and the road. You see that even like the windows, some of the house windows are small lights, like backyard lights, etc., right? And some of the lighting in the neighborhood, but it's not too bright, and you can see some of those are possibly low pressure sodium. And bam, look what you got. You got blue light. You know what's a blue light? The blue light, sometimes it is the burned out LED. It's not burned out, but the ballast problem with the LED light. So it's a problematic LED light, and you can Google it. So we have that as well in Neo. So when you look at that, you have the same exact what you see there. And we're talking about these dark neighborhoods. Most like here. I don't want to get too close to city, because in city it's a little bit different. You'll see why. Alright, so on here a little bit brighter, but yeah, you get the idea. So almost like so. I might actually find exact neighborhood that looks just as we were showing. It looks like this kind of. You get the idea, I think. So from the sleeping neighborhoods of that, we got all kind of lighting. So warm, cool, even some of them are even low pressure sodium. So kind of like a mix, you know, like a real life mix. Now you can see some of the like I call them knots, you know, because they're like knots on the rope, you know. So the bursts of the lights is some subdivisions have different lighting and they're brighter. So for example, this one has LED lighting, which is brighter, and some cool and white, and those you can see here. And they're the proper everything has proper spill and proper power in Candelas. So that creates diversity within the lights. So we got these small areas, how the lights are made in reality, because this is as reality. And then there you go, you got some of the blue lights here. So every single light you look is proper. When you look at the mast, is proper. You look at the car lights, is proper. You look at the car lights. There's a street for you. Just proper as it's supposed to be. So the headlights, the tail lights, the spill of them, all as is in reality. Now here you can note some of the shopping centers are lit more, and they're mostly like white and cool and warm, either by LED or metal halide or any of those. And you can see more of them here. So shopping centers, industrial centers, anything that has to do with lights. Oh, there's a train. X-Plane is so nice. I mean, I can't get enough of it, guys. Even now I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow. All right, so far you see every lights are different. You have so good and big variety. Now we are in Boston, so this example of large city, it's gonna be bright in the center like that, like so, like you can see. But the smaller towns, trust me, in reality, the smaller towns, like you'll see this like centers and knots, you know, but the rest it's all like kind of dark. So the beauty of it, as you can see, is different light size, different brightness. Now let's move closer to, so have a note, look at the streets like that. So this is a lazy suburb, right? Except some of their subdivisions, like so, they're pretty dark, like in reality. Now also gas stations are lit as well, so if you happen to find a gas station, we'll find one, it's gonna be lit. So any of those, basically in reality, it's a whole bunch of darkness, and then you got bunch of outbursts of lights like so. Highway, all right, highway, high pressure sodium, low pressure sodium, all kinds of, you know, orange lighting. And not only, you know, it doesn't necessarily has to be that. You'll see like ramp, like for example, you see some of the cool white lighting. And keep in mind that even though I'm recording high quality, it still is going to be 10 times better when you look from your own PC, because the stream and the video will never give you that feeling that what you get by sitting without lights and looking at LED. Now, one more thing, guys, please don't, if you have 4K or 2K, don't ever do this. Don't go to graphics and go any of lower resolution or like rent, you know, go to like that, because it's gonna hurt the quality, and it's easy to understand too. Basically, the lower the resolution is, the more that pixel will get stretched on your screen. So basically, the more resolution you have, the better and more realistic it's going to be. That's just a fact. I'm sorry for those who have 1024 by 864 or whatever, but guys, TV screens are not so expensive. Get something with high hertz, high frequency, and high resolution. Ideally, all LED. That's in ideally, all right. I have LED, and you're gonna like have an eye orgasm when you look at it. So yeah, invest. Don't think that if you're looking at the 30-inch screen with a resolution of 1440 by 700 something, don't think you're gonna have it like I do, and trust me, invest in it. By the way, the product has the video about it, and also have a lot of readmes, a lot of information, so please do read that. I have a lot of experience. 25 years of simming and 15 years of flying. I have a lot of experience, and I can tell you really much how to have the most out of your sim. So all right, move on. So as you can see, you got some parks, you got the you got the centers. Like, I don't know, I still haven't got the good name for it. Let's call them spots. Light spots. So highway. Highway lights could be different too. So out here so far we've seen two kinds. Some of the ramp and normal lights. Look at that nice subdivision over here. Okay, let me think. All right, so yeah, so if you are using let's say, just give you a few advices here. Watch as this maximum shadow. Doesn't really matter, you can go aircraft only, it doesn't really matter. If your PC can take it, you might play with it, but my end. So I'm not gonna go to like how to tune, but the most important is world object density, vegetation density, the resolution, texture, of course. Now anisotropic as well, 16. Now notice how I have only FXAA and non-MSAA anti-aliasing. With 4K 48-inch screen, you don't need it. FXAA is enough. That runs it up full screen, and also that also plays a role. So if you have something like that, you're wrong, and if you have something like that, you're wrong. So anywhere from 60 to 85 depending on your size. What else here is important? So yeah, the rest, how to get good performance. Lossless scaling, guys. Lossless scaling. Now, the Neo in any way, shape, or form doesn't lose any FPS. Matter of fact, it probably gains more FPS than anything you feel. Oh, there's a cow. Gains more FPS than anything you've tried, and it's been tested meticulously in that direction as well. One second. All right. So let's move towards this city center. So here you can see some of the extra lighting there. What kind of good lighting? Maybe we will find Mercury green lighting, maybe not. So out here, here's a example of highway different lights. So you can see how lights of highway there and here are different. And as in reality, that knot right here is probably the brightest thing out of all Boston, and you can easily see it. Like when you look at this area right here, is going to be the brightest area, and in reality the same way. Look at that right here, all the brightest area. And look, even the same color of the highway. But oh boy, this is so realistic. Okay, so lossless scaling will help you for all of your smoothness issues. And this is demanding airport, remember guys. I have traffic, full real world traffic. I have you saw my settings. Beautiful. Of course. The reflections, the water reflections. Oh, I think we got it. All right. Never mind. I thought I found mercury light, but I think I did not. Maybe I did. No, never mind. I'll check the code. Maybe I accidentally turned it off. We'll see. Okay, so when you move closer to the city, okay, first thing you can notice that you never had it before in explain. Notice how all the roads are, like the main roads, like arteries, are lit, and they're properly lit with proper color. Look here, here. So I never seen this in any. You look at any light add-on or by default, and I never seen that. So let's explain night. So look, you only see the highway, and all of them are equally. So there's no main roads, and it does not happen like that in the real world. So only highway and no main roads. Highway, no main roads. None. Here's the example. Oh, by the way, don't use extended lights, okay? We don't need that with Neo. And it's unrealistic as well. Well, sort of, kind of thing here, but you see, you don't see like the roads here because they're not proper colors and not proper diversity. This is the reality. You guys, I have it on my screen saver. Oh, that's my theme. So roads, Somebody made a video about that. Okay. So yeah, most of them don't even have any road lights or anything like that. No road lights, no nada. Actually, look, you see that that's the problem about most of these add-ons. When you look at the screen, it looks fairly good, but when you look actually in a sim, it's like over bright because it's merely impossible to have the proper brightness, and you have to really know what you're doing. Well, out here, it's not bad. I should say, make nights great again. Let's explain 11. Explain 11. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into like into that part. So yeah. So inside the city, look, at some point around the city, you have streets like the secondary residential street and even tertiary or tertiary residential streets. Their lighting is brighter than other one than the regular outskirts, and you can see right here in this you see how all these are lit, but then when you look a little bit so like out of bounds of the city itself, not the city like the Boston, you know what I mean, so the actual city like by the city codes and zip codes, look out here, it's already dimmer. I don't know if you can tell, but out here, see there's secondary and tertiary roads. We don't count the main roads, of course, but they look awesome. Look at these. And look here. This is a huge difference. And you also can see out here some of the streets even formed, but as soon as you leave the city, not leave the city but go out of center, right, you'll find just more darker streets. It'll still have the lighting, it's still gonna be lit, but it's gonna be darker, just like here. This is a good example out here. Look at this neighborhood. You got gas stations that are lit, you got all these towns that are lit, you got the bright knots, and then look at just across the river, or even here, there's a subdivision here. Notice how more lit this brick is, or out here, or here. So anywhere in between the main roads in a city center, you'll find actually brighter. This is so pretty. I'm just gonna leave it for 1 second and go to smoke, so I'll pause it and have you guys enjoyed. Okay, back online. Alright, so if you just tuned in, watch the video from the start, there's a lot of information. A lot of information. Okay, so like I said, on the main roads, the residential roads are different. So that creates a possibility to do the smaller cities, and the smaller cities are not that bright. So I will show you. I'll give you an example what I mean. Let's go for a second to a smaller city like I don't know, like let's go to Jacksonville. We can, yeah, Jacksonville was our, yeah, KCRW, Charleston Yeager. Flown into this airport many times, and at night, the city is real dim. You have all these outbursts, all these intersections of light, but the majority of it is nothing like Boston or Chicago or New York, of course. So the custom lighting for the scenery, as I was saying, gives me ability to do that. So look at this. All right, so we got small town here, so nothing crazy. You don't have any grid or anything, no crazy grid around the city. So the city ends and there's mountains. Look, so there's nothing around. It's just forest and small city. So for small cities like that, we don't have scenery files. So if you live in a city like that and you don't have, and you look at the scenery and it's not in the list, don't worry, you still have all the proper lighting. It's just actually it's more proper that way instead of me creating a grid, if you know what I mean. All right, so that's actually the picture. Like when you descend into that airport, that's what you see. It's so funny. And then the city itself more brighter, but still have the bright knots and everything. All right, let's go back to Boston. Just make sure that I'm just gonna make sure that I mentioned everything. Oh yeah, so for the lights, I think I mentioned all. So yeah, we got the, so yeah, in your scenery, I'm still compiling, so I'm gonna have much more. So for the large cities like that, just look at this. I'm using this map as a pollution to know which places I need to create that grid. Okay, so obviously Boston is one of those. So as you can see, where you have that bright red and white, this is the places that will have those. So it will have like center and name. So Boston Center and Boston C, which is gonna be called Boston R, which stands for roads. So Boston Roads, Boston Center. That means that the grid of the Boston itself is that area, that white area is the brightest part, and then the all other grid is lit up roads. And as you know, the roads are not lit until infinity, so they're only within the town limits usually. So yeah, so any mornings are always beautiful, just as I was saying. Now let's get to the other part of huge part of Neo 1.8. So night lighting obviously is one. Also one thing. So Neo will have all worldwide lights, and I specifically handcraft all the large cities like that. So I know which parts of the city are more white, which parts of more orange. So based on that, we'll have all these custom scenery in your custom scenery folder. All right, now when you climb by looking down at the lights, you no longer see the light bulb itself because it's hidden underneath the glare shield, but you see the spill, and that's how it's supposed to be in IRL. But when you look outward up to reasonable distance, you'll see some of the brightest ones. But again, having bulbs farther than this, what you see here, is not normal and not realistic. So normally you won't be able to see stuff like that. So forget about all the grid stupid stuff where you see like for 100 miles you will see the light bulbs. It's not realistic. It does not work like that in real life. So the lights fit in really nice. You can see Boston, the city center, all bright, and then the outskirts kind of dimmer. There's some kind of bigger city over there, but that is gonna be under normal city code within the lights, so it's not gonna be like a special yeah. So once you get higher, I've simulated the effect of the light pollution, how in general you'll see like the city brights up a little bit, and that's what you're seeing right now. So on the ground, all kind of lighting, small, big, the bursts of light. And then as we climb, already start seeing the outskirts. It blends right in, and then kind of dims. Now, okay, so with the weather as well, lights get affected by weather. So it was clear. I'm gonna do the real world weather. So out here you can see it's overcast or close to overcast. Now when you change any weather conditions, you have to wait 1 minute because Neo adjusts to the new conditions and it will set things accordingly. So yeah, so nothing goes through the clouds as it's supposed to. And generally, of course, the less visibility it is, the lights will be affected. Okay, now let's get to the point of one more thing that I want to talk about is skies, and in general the sky sunsets and sunrises. In Neo all it's fluid and it's all depending on the conditions, and imagine to be perfectly, to give you the idea of how it works, I'll draw it. Okay, so let's say there's like many, like not hexagon but some gun, you know, many angles. And here for example is temperature 30, high pressure, and then for example low humidity like 10%. Here's the same thing but humidity is high, it's 100%. Here is minus 30 and barrel 320 and then humidity low and so on. So you got all these like endpoints, right? If you put like vectors through it, right? So these are just kind of not endpoints, but these are just waypoints. So based on how the conditions are, and conditions could be anywhere on this map, they don't have to be exact here, right? It could be 50, it could be like, okay, let's say 30 and 30, right? 30 degrees Celsius, 32.00 barrel, 100 humidity, and this is 10% humidity or 0% humidity. In between those is going to be our spot. This is our condition. So that spot travels anywhere within this map, here, here, here. It could be anywhere based on conditions, and there are plenty of conditions like seasons, latitude, temperature, pressure, humidity, the storm, if thunderstorms in the area, the clouds, the visibility, and many others, right? So based on that, this conditions that dictates what the sky is going to be will travel. So you might take off at this airport and sunset's going to be completely different than when you land at this airport because the conditions are different. And let me show you in a sim. Okay, so for example, we have, let's do temperature 30, high pressure, and then humidity you can't change, but you can look what humidity is there either in forecast or here. So here's low humidity, so high pressure, low humidity, and high temp, 30 to 30, right? So within that, you have to wait until it catches on. And the sunrise will be vivid like that. I'm not gonna go through how it's supposed to be, but just know that all of them are tested throughout the real physics and tested even comparing to the real world based on what color more, what color less. So the day skies has the same thing, so the skies are never the same. So let's say something changed out here in this thing, right? So boom, barrel dropped, pressure dropped. See, completely different story. It's more pastel, more pale. And of course, I'm just showing you in custom weather because it's easier to see that way, but the best way is to actually go to locations that have different weather, because nothing's gonna build it like actual weather. And you see, I'm going fast, I'm moving sound fast, so you have to wait. When you move sound like that, it still adjusts. A lot of stuff changes even with the sun position. So to move it L and K buttons, right, you can adjust it and wait a few seconds to adjust, sometimes even up to a minute depending on now for example, let's say with the same condition now the temperature dropped to like -15. Boom. More blue, more reddish color with the temperature drop. And then boom, let's say the pressure high again. Different story too. Or we can have one of those where we have high humidity or higher humidity. You see, it's now 60 humidity. Now, different story again. So all these colors, now you have to wait until it adjusts, because a lot of stuff changes. All right, so with this, the amount of like, see this kind of mist in default, you will not have it. So Neo calculated that this mist would be present with these conditions, because otherwise, if we would turn it off, look, boom, see, we just had a vanilla, it got removed. So in vanilla, with this condition, it would not have here, but see, but it's supposed to be there since it's convective activity. So it dictates all of that. It dictates the color, the amount of gases, which gases and how much. It dictates how it even dictates how the me scattering all kinds of scattering, old scatterings are involved. So if I would have changed the visibility, let's say, no, good way to see is here. See me scattering, all these three changes, constantly changing. So depending on anything that I set, it will change. So if I would set it to here, if I scatter it, look, boom, changed, just changed. And then you have to wait until it adjusts. Now look, the mist is gonna go away because it's just scattering clouds. Slowly, and I made it to adjust slowly because nothing happens fast. So for example, we're flying through weather stations, like from A to B, right? And we're passing weather stations. The weather it reads the weather on weather stations, and I explained. So if one of the weather stations is missing or have corrupt data, by laminar or anything like that, or it just abruptly changes, you will never have any abrupt changes. So you go through it, oh well, it's gonna take a couple of minutes while stuff is gonna self-adjust, and probably it's gonna be seamless. So when you fly through the area like that, by the way, yeah, so when the thunderstorm is, when the visibility is below, you'll see the visibility from above too. So this is the, and I'm getting more into like how things work in Neo and the base, but see now, me scattering is changing, everything is changing here. So if you look at scattering, see all these blue, that means all of them are changing here. And not only that, not only scattering, a zone changes. All these things are changed here. By default, none of that. No. By default, all this is still, and it does not. It is not like that in reality. In reality, all this stuff is fluid, just like we have turbidity, adjusting, still adjusting. Now turbidity is like the amount of that soup, right? So I even have, for example, you know, some polluted areas. If you have a polluted area, for example, like the area of Detroit, Michigan at summertime, when you're gonna fly through Detroit, you'll see like air is gonna get dirty. Like you'll start to feel how air is dirty. You'll start seeing it. Actually, it's gonna, not to the point of that which you see right now, but you'll see how a polluted air looks like. And the rest, you know, there are plenty of this stuff. It's not only that. So with the new, and we're talking about beta, right? Which everybody is using beta nowadays because that's the best thing to have right now is beta, because it gives you all proper. So you see we're above the visibility. Now look below, you can't see the ground. That's how it's supposed to be. Now look at that. See, that would be a default, you would see the ground, and you're not supposed to. So it dictates the proper picture. And I'm just going through like weather themes, right? But like I said, the best way is to have, oh, this is awesome. The best way is not to have the weather themes, but to go and find real actual conditions. And that would be Also more. Also more. So the sunrise and sunsets are always special, guys. I mean, you'll have all kind of pictures out there, and how it is in the real world. Look, amazing. So yeah, this is just a little sneak peek, because look, I'll change to few clouds, and look, the Neo still adjusts. Watch how it's gonna self-adjust. You see the God rays. So no abrupt changes, no nothing. So let's say you're moving through one area to another, and you just fly smoothly. You get one from one area to another. Look at that. And there's some kind of clouding here as well. This is vanilla. It looks actually nice even without the. Now, whoops. God damn it. Let's spin it all the way around. There you go. Some God rays for you. So always adjusting. I just gotta wait. For example, customize. Just get unlimited visibility. Boom. Just wait and watch how clean it's gonna get. Sometimes it might take even up to 2 minutes, but the picture is gonna get super clean. I mean, as far as horizon, and of course the higher you get, it's better to see it that way. So now you can see the clear skies, but guess what? It can get even cleaner than that. Well, first of all, you gotta wait. Second, you gotta make sure that it's not in the pollution area. So if you're like in China in some city, and then you're trying to set up clear weather, and no matter how you set it, still the city is gonna have effect to it. Look at that. So look at that. Look at the horizon. It's super clear. That's what I'm talking about. And guess what? We can get even more clear. How? Raise the pressure. Boom. Wait for that. Just wait for that. The higher the pressure, the cleaner the air. But not always. There's some always can be a trap. trap, like inversion and stuff like that. So it's complicated. Atmosphere is complicated. So like I said, it's always best to it's always best to look for real weather and find it. For example, even more clear, -20. Now with the time, like within 2 minutes or so, it will self-adjust to the clearest sky possible. Now if we even, let's go ahead and like switch it to February. We should go to some latitude, like -35, highest pressure and highest visibility. And watch how it's gonna self-adjust. Now, some of the things are still like in progress, like in work in progress. It's always work in progress. So this is why I suggest that you get it from Blue Sky Star Store, because sometimes I update it, like twice a week. I get hot fixes and all that kind of stuff. So matter of fact, I will update it after the stream. I will update it too. So normally just small updates, hot fixes, like the big updates, like from 1.7 to 1.8. This is like once per month or so, but it gets instantly uploaded to Blue Sky Star Store. But the small hot fixes, compatibilities, and just actual small implements of stuff, it's bi-weekly, so every week. So this is why get it from blueskystar.net. Look for Neo there and products and explain products. So the link, I think, is in I'll throw a link in description. So you really see we've waited a little bit and see how clear the sky is. So I'll throw it in chat here, but also will so yeah, it's gonna be a video. I will upload the video and erase that stream, so it's gonna be a clear video, and then there'll be all the links there. Go to blueskystar.net, you'll find it. All right, so yeah, but for example, physics, right? Physics. For example, what if you get like super low temperature, -55? Even lower, -60 Celsius. we had before, that it has to be exact condition, because I was looking for, with the low pressure, you see the air would come down a bit, so it would be kind of hazy. When it's super cold, you'll see kind of like the air is freezing up. Okay, I think you start seeing it already a little bit. So that's sunset. It's like Norilsk. Gosh. It reminds me of winter. Alright guys, I mean, you can play around with it forever. As you know. It's never enough. Never enough. Well, I'm kind of giving you extremes of the temperature, so most of the times it doesn't get to that levels. I mean, unless you're like some of the coldest spots on the earth, you know, but most of the times it gets like around -25 and something like that. That's probably the lowest it could get for the lowest temperature and lowest pressure, but it changes with every little change. So yeah guys, explore and thank you for being a customer. Also, one more thing, one last thing. So with Neo 1.8, like I said, the light's gonna be all countries, all continents, most of them. I don't think I'm gonna do like China or anything like that. As far as that, I mean, as far as like custom lighting. But if you want your region or your, let's say, like you want China, you can. I will create. First of all, I will create custom lighting, like real custom lighting, like handcrafted cities, and that would be a separate product that will work with Neo. But about that is going to be later. It's too early for it, so don't even get it in your head. All right, so just I want you only think about one thing, that with Neo you don't need anything else. You install it and you throw away all of your other add-ons, because you don't need anything else except aircraft and Neo. It's packaged all in one. Alright guys, well, hope you had fun. Leave a comment if you like it. If you don't, leave a comment too. And link will be in link is going to be in the description of the video. Right?